Today gas prices are at an all-time high, the purity of air is at a record low, and the temperatures are skyrocketing. And all of this is due to rapid climate change. I will be addressing the ever-expanding problem of rapid climate change on our beautiful planet. I will tell you a few historical factors along with a few contemporary ones as to why this can be a problem. I can also show you what you can do to help. Before I go into more details about rapid climate change, I've sent a field reporter to get a better summary on it in Washington, D.C.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bruce Stein, Director of Climate Change Adaptation with the National Wildlife Federation. We're here in Washington, D.C. at the Adaptation 2011 conference, where we brought together some of the nation's leading thinkers about climate change and what we will need to do in order to protect our wildlife in an increasingly uncertain and rapidly changing future. Those impacts are not something that we're only going to see in the future, but with massive wildfires, widespread tornadoes, flooding across the Midwest, these impacts are actually with us now, and the conservation community is really grappling with what it needs to do differently in order to sustain our wildlife and the ecosystems they depend on.
Things like that, and lack of funds, those are real issues, but they're not really as significant as just getting a grip on dealing with change, dynamic change. Some of our investments in time, it's not just money, but in time and staff energy and research need to be redirected to topics that we're going to be facing in the near future.
As part of our new way of thinking in this era of climate change, that every organization needs to be working beyond their boundaries, not just in terms of our scientific planning, but in terms of our interactions.
So you got to bring in agriculture, you got to bring in the municipalities, you got to bring in landowners. So we can no longer afford just to be talking within the, just talking to the choir.
Essentially developing a new way to carry out conservation. This meeting is also really looking at what the evolution of the practice of climate change adaptation has been. How do we move from planning to implementation?
Let's stop talking about it. We need to do the appropriate planning, but let's begin to realize we need to take action. So at this meeting, we're able to exchange ideas, exchange information, learn about examples of what people are doing to adapt to climate change, to help their natural resources have a better future.
Yeah, I think it's hugely important to move beyond simply analysis and planning, because a lot of what we need to learn is about what works and what doesn't work on the ground, and you can only learn that when you're actually trying something on the ground.
This video shows an annual conference in Washington, D.C. designated for rapid climate change. The video mainly explains just how big of a problem rapid climate change is today on our planet, and just what people are doing to help with this problem. The first thing I will address on the issue are the two historical factors that have affected rapid climate change today. These two factors include the Ice Age and past natural disasters throughout history. The first historical factor I will discuss is the Ice Age. Ice ages are formed by very small variations in the Earth's orbit. This causes the planet to receive a lot of sunlight in some parts and drastically less in others. This is just an example of how Earth's orbit causes it to shift positions from the sun and cause ice ages. During the Carboniferous rainforest collapse about 300 million years ago, the cold and dry climate from the Ice Age had completely devastated the rainforest. This led to the extinction of the entire rainforest ecosystem during that time period. This caused a lack of biodiversity, which contributes to effects of the rainforest today. As you can see, the glaciers took up most of North America and Europe, and also parts of Asia and South America. This is significant because when these glaciers melted, they formed the oceans and their currents that affect our climate today. The second historical factor are past natural occurrences that have happened over time. Now, this is not one specific event, but an accumulation of events that have happened over time that form our climate today. These can include earthquakes, tornadoes, tsunamis, and hurricanes. And over time, the accumulation of all these weather patterns have shaped what our climate is today. For example, the Earth's tectonic plates move centimeters every year, but with the influence of natural disasters such as earthquakes, it speeds up the movement of the plates and causes the continents to shift and change shape. It can completely change location, which majorly affects the continent's climate. Billions of years ago, all the continents were formed as one landmass called Pangaea. As you can see from the pictures, the movement of the continents have majorly changed over time. This is relevant to the continent's climate because a continent such as North America was on the equator 225 million years ago, but is now much farther north, affecting its weather and overall climate. Another example of a historical natural occurrence that has shaped our climate today is a period that you would all know as the extinction of the dinosaurs. Now, this is really called the Permian-Triassic extinction, which is theorized that a comet came down and hit the Earth and wiped out all of the life, plant and animal on it. This is extremely critical because during this time, 95% of the Earth's population was extinct, and it took the Earth about 33 million years to recover. This changed a lot about the Earth's climate, plants, and animals. This chart shows the effect this time period had on the CO2 levels due to the lack of plants in the rainforest. So in conclusion, the Ice Age had affected our climate mainly through its glaciers. And past natural disasters such as earthquakes have shifted tectonic plates to move continents to the location they are today. These two factors are extremely critical when discussing the causes of rapid climate change. Now that we've covered the historical factors, we can move on to the two contemporary factors that have affected rapid climate change. These two factors include global warming and deforestation. Global warming is an increase in the Earth's atmospheric and oceanic temperatures widely predicted to occur due to an increase in the greenhouse effect resulting especially from pollution. Now, that's basically saying that through pollution and human activity, that the Earth's temperature is increasing because there are small holes in the ozone layer, allowing radiant energy from the sun to hit the Earth. The greenhouse effect is caused mostly by pollution, and what this means is gases through industrial companies such as carbon dioxide or nitrogen go up into the air, and then they create holes in the ozone layer, and this causes more radiant energy from the sun to come through the ozone layers and increase the temperature on Earth. These gases come from mostly industrialized companies. But from a residential standpoint, all of the houses are contaminating the air. Now, according to the chart, we can really see a rise in the temperature of global warming between about 1915 and 1940. This is very significant and a key time frame because this was the Industrial Revolution. During this time, factories increased many technologies that affected the pollution rate during that time. These technologies included cars and trains. Although these technologies were extremely beneficial to mankind, they had quite opposite effects on the environment. There is a direct correlation between the Industrial Revolution and global warming. But there are ways to help stop this. Some of these ways might seem small, but if enough people do them, an accumulation of these will have a major effect on global warming. These ways include recycling, driving fuel-efficient vehicles, using solar, and wind energy. Deforestation is much more hazardous to the environment than one might think. As you know, through the process of photosynthesis, plants take in sunlight and carbon dioxide in order to produce oxygen. This may not seem too significant for just one plant, but an accumulation of plants in a forest of trees has a big effect on our air and our climate. But not only does deforestation remove the plant's clean air, but in turn replaces it with factories and city life that pollutes the air. Now let's go to our field reporter in a small farming town in Bolivia.
Ronald Ayeroa Patacana has been raising cattle for 11 years. Like many traditional farmers in Bolivia, he used to burn down parts of the rainforest to create pasture for his animals. Now he's one of more than 200 villagers taking part in a pilot project run by a Bolivian nonprofit. It's designed to show farmers new ways to prevent further deforestation.
The organization gives an alternative to use these lands that were deforested and use them to our advantage, not only for us, but also to preserve the environment.
Under the project, farmers use a new type of grass brought in from Colombia. It allows more cows to graze on less land. With the old grass, only one cow could graze on each hectare. Now 40 cows can graze on the same amount of land.
In this video, Bolivian farmers are using different crops to feed their cattle in order to neutralize the effects of the deforestation that has already occurred. So to recap, the two main contemporary factors of rapid climate change today include global warming and deforestation. So, in the long run, the climate of Earth is very unique. In fact, so unique that it's the only planet in our solar systems to support life. But if we do not take care of our planet by stopping the things within our power, such as deforestation and global warming, and learn from natural disasters, such as natural causes and ice ages, then the conditions on our planet will become rapidly poor. Well, that's all we have for today. Signing off, I'm Kyle Hazelbaker, World History News. Thanks for stopping.